What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Howard, and today we're going to be covering Battleground 2016. We just finished watching it, and it was a tremendous pay-per-view. Starting off, we had a nice tag match between Charlotte and Dana Brooke facing off against Sasha Banks and a mystery partner who turned out to be none other than Bayley. So we got to see Bayley's first match in the main roster. They were playing it off as kind of a one-time thing, so I don't think she's going to be on like SmackDown or Raw, especially because it is in a title match for the NXT Women's title coming up, presumably at the next TakeOver, I would guess. But it was a tremendous match nonetheless. Bayley basically started off after Charlotte and Dana had attacked them before the match, and she kind of spent a few minutes getting beat up by Charlotte, and then they would tag Dana in, and she'd get beat up by Dana, and eventually she did get the tag and got Sasha Banks into the match. Sasha hit a Hurricanrana on Charlotte, and basically kind of took over the match from there. Bayley got tagged in, and then Sasha, and they kind of went back and forth a couple times. And I would say the biggest moment of the match was probably when Sasha went for the bank statement, but Dana Brooke pulled Charlotte out of the ring, which kind of broke the submission and kind of broke the momentum, it seemed. But then Charlotte got back in the ring. Bayley attacked Dana to keep her from interfering, and Sasha locked in the bank statement once again, this time with Charlotte having nowhere to go, and we saw Charlotte tap out to the bank statement. So that will definitely move that title feud between Charlotte and Sasha forward. Sasha now has a submission victory over Charlotte, albeit in a tag match, but a submission victory nonetheless. That was a great match, and I really can't say much. I can't really say anything negative about it. There was one move that was maybe botched a little bit, but overall I'm really glad to see the women that were in that match getting a nice slot on the Battleground pay-per-view. So moving on, we saw the culmination of the Wyatt family New Day feud, and they covered all the previous promos and interactions that took place between them in the previous weeks and months, and definitely played the fact that Xavier Woods was a little bit terrified or maybe hypnotized at times by Bray Wyatt, and that was definitely a part of the main of the match itself. We saw Big E, hitting some belly-to-belly suplexes and body slams on the Wyatt family members, but it seemed like every time they tagged Bray in, Bray would get the best of whoever was in the ring for the New Day, and that basically was the majority of the match. We got to see a big spot where Kofi got knocked out of the ring. He was the active member in the ring. Xavier Woods tagged himself in and faced off against Bray Wyatt. He kind of faced his fear, if you will, and he just went to town on Bray Wyatt. But after having each of the members of the Wyatt family and each of the members of the New Day come in and do a big spot, it ended up being Bray Wyatt and Xavier Woods in the ring by themselves once again, and Xavier Woods just could not stand up to Bray Wyatt as he took Sister Abigail, and Bray Wyatt would pick up the win for the Wyatt family, looking stronger than ever. So with that being said, I wonder if there's going to be any dissension in the New Day. I don't know if there's going to be anything going on there, but the Wyatt family has been officially split up. Bray and Eric Rowan are on SmackDown, and Braun Strowman is on Raw. We have no way to tell if Luke Harper will be coming back. I'm assuming he will be, but we don't know when. We don't know which brand he'll go to or what he'll be doing when he does come back. So that's still up in the air. And honestly, that's not the worst thing ever. We got to see that Bray Wyatt is definitely a main event or even a title contender. And it'll be interesting to see if they actually give him a title shot anytime soon, or if maybe, they just keep putting him in tag matches with Rowan, or I don't know what they do, what they're gonna do. But I hope that they utilize him better than they have in the last year or two. That would be nice. Moving on, we saw the United States Championship match between Rusev and the challenger Zack Ryder. Ryder came out in like an American flag jacket and USA like attire all around, which was pretty cool. He put on a very strong showing and basically kind of made it seem like he was going to win the title. He basically he gave everything he could to Rusev, and he even got a nice elbow drop from the top rope, kind of reminiscent of Randy Savage or CM Punk, and it really looked like he was going to win over Rusev, but in the end Rusev did lock in the accolade and ended up winning the match via submission, which meant that Rusev will retain the United States Championship, and the U.S. title is now officially mainstay on Raw. After the match, we did see Mojo Rawley come out, who was the tag team partner of Zack Ryder down in NXT, the Hype Bros. He came out and kind of backed Rusev down to make sure he didn't attack Ryder anymore, but nothing more really came of it, and I think it just kind of set up either a feud maybe, or just kind of reestablished that him and Ryder are indeed tag team partners over on SmackDown. So after this, we saw arguably the most waited for match of the pay-per-view, and that was the grudge match, if you will, between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. The match started off, of course, with the two staring each other down. When the bell rang, Kevin Owens got out of the ring to try and slow down Sami Zayn's momentum that he could kind of be seen building up throughout his entrance. And we also saw that they really don't like each other. They went at it, striking back and forth a lot. Zayn hit a really cool heel kick to the face of Owens, and he ended up going for the corner DDT on the outside and got hit with a super kick, which was unexpected but awesome. Then Kevin Owens hit the running cannonball to the corner, and it looked like it could have knocked Zayn out, but it apparently didn't, because he did continue to go. We got the ole 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 chants throughout, which was really cool, and I have to say it was definitely, at least up until that point in the night, the biggest pop that any match had gotten. So in the end, we got to see Sami Zayn hit a haluva kick on Owens, and instead of letting him fall to the ground and go for the pin, he propped him back up in the corner and hit a second haluva kick, which ended up giving him the victory, and I would assume ended the feud. But with both of them being on Raw, you really never know. It seems as if they're going to be in each other's matches and careers for quite some time, and I was really hoping that Zayn would have gotten drafted to SmackDown to kind of signify that this was the end of the feud, but that didn't happen. So we're really just going to have to wait and see what happens. I hope they are given other things to do. Maybe Cesaro will feud with Kevin Owens or something, but We'll have to wait and see. We also had Becky Lynch versus Natalya. It was an okay match overall. It didn't really seem to do anything different than we've seen in previous weeks. We saw a lot of sharpshooter and armbar tries, and most of them failed. In the end, Natalya did lock in the sharpshooter, and Becky Lynch was forced to tap out. So a little bit disappointing, especially as Becky Lynch was the first overall Diva pick on SmackDown. I was hoping they'd make her look a little stronger, but at the same time, the odds of them dropping this feud altogether is pretty slim, so I'm assuming she'll get redemption in the near future. Then after this match, they cut to backstage, and we saw Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan kind of hyping up Dean Ambrose, and it was one of the coolest backstage promos I've seen in a long time. We then moved on to the Intercontinental Championship between The Miz and Darren Young, and I was kind of like, well, Rusev already won the U.S. title, right? He is on Raw. So, with The Miz on SmackDown as the Intercontinental Champion, would they really have him lose? I mean, Raw already has a mid-card title, so that was kind of a red flag as to who was going to win this match. Not a whole lot went on, I have to say. I was a little bit disappointed. Basically, after about, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 minutes, Maurice basically made a whole, put on a whole show outside the ring, saying that Bob Backlund pushed her down, and basically got The Miz upset, who then got in the face of Bob Backlund and kind of pushed him down. And then Darren Young kind of, I guess, got real angry, put the crossface chicken wing on The Miz, and the referee for some reason called for double DQ or a count out or something. I really couldn't even tell. I guess it was just a no contest, which was kind of weird, but I guess it's really the only way they could have ended the match the way they wanted to. So a little bit disappointing, but The Miz does walk away the Intercontinental Champion, and the IC belt will stay on SmackDown. After this, we came to the pre-match segment that everyone had been waiting for, which was that of John Cena, Enzo, and Cass on the mic, and just kind of pandering towards the DC crowd, which was pretty cool. Enzo made a bunch of puns, as he usually does, and when they say that they are the realest guys in the room, they are not kidding. They definitely said some things that weren't exactly PG, but weren't rated R either. They're a little bit. It was kind of like Well, I shouldn't say like South Park, but a lot of his puns were adult oriented without kind of it being explicit to the kids. So I really enjoyed that. Enzo is tremendous on the mic. Cass is getting a lot better, and Cena speaks for himself. The match basically started with Enzo taking on AJ Styles. He put on, a good front, but he would end up getting beat down after a while by whoever was in the ring. He tagged Cass in, and Cass would take out the opponent, and then they double team him and kind of move the momentum back to the club. We also saw that Cena didn't get a lot of in-ring time, and when he did, he was definitely on the offensive, which I liked, because I was kind of getting tired of seeing him, just getting beat up every single, wrestling event. We saw that Cena went for the FU on AJ Styles. AJ countered and then basically hit... he basically went to hit John Cena, missed, and then we saw Enzo jump off the top rope, who then landed on John Cena by accident. John Cena then kind of gave Enzo to, I believe it was Gallows, who threw him away, and then Cena picked up Gallows and kind of got him under control, if that makes sense. We got to see Cena hit the five-knuckle shuffle on AJ, and after a whole lot of craziness with everybody coming in and out of the ring, we saw Cena hit the he hit a super FU off the top rope to AJ Styles for the win, which was nice because we actually got to see Cena beat AJ Styles like, you know, we were supposed to at the last pay-per-view. And they also made note that it would be the last time Cena and Enzo and Cass would be able to team together because they are now on separate brands. So that'll be interesting. I'm sure Cena and Styles will continue their feud, and you know, that'll be something that I'm looking forward to for sure. So we are going to switch over. I'm going to bring up the triple threat match for the world title, and we will be right back. Alright, so we are back. Before we get to the title match, we are going to bring up the return of Randy Orton, who came out on Chris Jericho's highlight reel. The two of them went back and forth with some pretty hilarious banter, if you will. Randy Orton made a joke that Chris Jericho looked like Ellen DeGeneres, and the whole crowd started chanting Ellen over and over again, which Jericho clearly did not like. The whole time, Orton was kind of like, kind of winking and nodding. He was going to hit an RKO out of nowhere, and Jericho said, "You better watch out, I might hit a code breaker out of nowhere," and Orton just kind of laughed. Jericho then brought up a quick interview that they did with Lesnar previously, and kind of explained where Lesnar's mindset is and what he would do to whoever was, in his way. Orton made a comment. He took a jab at Chris Jericho, saying, "You're asking me why I chose to come back after 9 months and immediately face someone like Brock Lesnar." He said, "Because I don't want to come back after 9 months and face someone, like Fandango or someone like that doesn't matter," and kind of took a jab at Jericho for losing to Fandango at WrestleMania a couple years ago. That was pretty funny. And Randy Orton also made a comment which may or may not have been off script, where he said he believes he can beat anyone, anywhere, anytime, no enhancements needed, which seemed to be a little jab at Brock Lesnar and the news that came out recently of him failing a drug test prior to his UFC fight. So that's probably not going to be, whether it was planned by, the writers for him to say that or not, it didn't really seem like something Lesnar would enjoy. And he'll probably be a little bit upset. But with that being said, we're going to move on to the main event. We saw Mick Foley come out, followed by Steph McMahon, then Shane, and then, of course, Daniel Bryan. They all came out to sit ringside as they watched to see which brand would be taking control of the world title. And again, I would assume this is obvious, but if you don't want to know who wins the title, if you don't want spoilers, don't listen to this review, because this is a recap of what took place, and you should be wanting to know what happened by watching this. We got to see a great match. Basically, Ambrose and Reigns kind of teamed on Rollins a little bit, although it didn't seem super purposeful. They threw him out of the ring, and then one guy would go for a roll-up pin on the other. Then Rollins would get back in the ring. They'd throw him out. The other guy would go for a roll-up on the other, and it was funny to watch. It was nice to see Reigns back, and he definitely looks stronger than ever. He's also grown a pretty big beard, which I think just makes him look even more badass. Ambrose and Rollins both looked in good shape, and they looked like they were ready to go as well. So this match definitely was going to be a good one right from the start. A surprising moment that we saw after the match had gone on for a little bit was Ambrose and Rollins deciding to team up on Reigns and end up putting him through one of the announce tables like they used to when they were all part of the Shield. That was pretty cool, and Roman Reigns basically was out of the match for a little while. We also got to see a corner powerbomb from Seth Rollins, and we also got to see a couple Superman punches. We got to see Ambrose bouncing off the middle ropes a couple times, and honestly, it kind of had everything you would expect when it comes to these guys. They definitely know how to work with each other, and they know how to work against each other. But overall, the match was very pleasant to watch. So, in the end, basically what took place was Rollins turned on Ambrose, hitting him with a chair after they had taken out Reigns, and Rollins then hit the superplex and the Falcon's Arrow on Ambrose, which could have possibly been the end of the match, but Ambrose did kick out to a huge pop from the crowd. Rollins then went for the pedigree on Reigns. Reigns countered and hit a kind of like a sit-down pin powerbomb on Rollins, which I thought might have been the end of the match, but it ended up not being the end of the match. After a few counters, we saw Ambrose get a 2 count off of a backslide, and Rollins came out of nowhere to hit a pedigree on Reigns for a very close fall. After that, Rollins went for another pedigree, ended up hitting the corner powerbomb, and Reigns kind of waved it off like it was nothing, hit a Superman punch and a spear on Seth Rollins, and before he could go for the pin, Ambrose came in and hit Reigns with Dirty Deeds to pin him and retain the WWE Championship. So, the WWE Championship is officially the world title on SmackDown, and it doesn't seem like Raw has a world title at the moment. I can only assume they will announce the World Heavyweight Championship coming back or something similar tomorrow night on Raw. And, I'm very excited. I believe SmackDown was the better brand. After the draft, it seemed to have more superstars, and the only exceptions that I would have liked to see were maybe Cesaro and Enzo and Cass on SmackDown, and maybe a little bit less Del Rio on SmackDown. That would have been great. But, overall, I was happy with the draft. I was happy with Battleground, and it'll be interesting to see where everything goes from here. They said they're going to be bringing in kind of like a cruiserweight division of sorts onto Raw in the near future. I don't know if that means a cruiserweight title. I also have questions as to what they're going to do for the women on SmackDown and what they're going to do for the tag teams on SmackDown, with there not being any belts for them to compete for. That just doesn't really seem right or fair, I guess. So maybe look to see the tag titles split up. I don't think they're going to bring the Divas title back, but you never know. It could happen. Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan were celebrating, and they were super happy. The whole crowd was chanting, yes, 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 over and over again. We saw the entire SmackDown roster come out, and led by John Cena, of course, and Becky Lynch, and The Miz, and the Usos, and a bunch of other guys. And Battleground went off the air with a ring full of SmackDown superstars, hoisting Ambrose up on their shoulders, holding the world title. kind of signifying a victory for SmackDown, at least for the night. And I don't believe we will... I'm assuming Survivor Series will have some kind of a SmackDown versus Raw theme, but it doesn't seem like we're going to be seeing a lot of SmackDown versus Raw stuff anytime soon. I know SummerSlam will have both brands on it, but I think after that we're going to start seeing the pay-per-views designated for specific brands. So, that will be an interesting, thing to find out. Right now, Raw does not have a world title. Look to see that resolved on Monday Night Raw this week. And SmackDown doesn't have tag titles or a women's title, so maybe look to see that resolved as well, hopefully. But with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching. Feel free to leave a like or comment down below. I will be covering the rest of the week in my next Raw Talk, which will be coming out maybe Thursday or Friday, and we'll go from there. So again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all real soon.